This video is kindly sponsored by MPB. Woodland photography is not about quick and instant results. It's a long game of going back to a location time and time again to see how the light changes, the seasons shift, and when a forest truly reveals its character. This can take weeks, months, years even, to become familiar with a place, to learn to understand it, and scouting is where it starts. I'm heading out on a scouting trip today to a bit of forest that I have never stepped foot in, and the goal is not portfolio-worthy images, but to learn the space and see if it has potential. As a fun little challenge, I am going to visit this small corner of woodland multiple days in a row, and each time I'm going to bring a completely different focal length with me to encourage myself to learn and see this space in as many different perspectives as possible. So I'm starting off with the 55V, which is a prime lens, which means no zooming. And this is exactly how I'm going to start to learn this space, by walking around using my feet to explore every nook and cranny. I'm being drawn to the odd tree or two, and this one in particular has caught my attention because I think it has a very commanding energy to it. So in thinking about framing this scene up, I would go horizontal. My first instinct is to pop the tree on the right of the frame, and that gives this huge branch room to stretch towards the left. Now underneath this branch there isn't a huge amount going on. We do have another tree that the light is catching, but apart from that, this space here needs something, colour, light, and I have a feeling that if I wait and I'm patient enough, the sun may dip and fill this space with some light and potentially transform this scene. So to get the composition that I had in mind, I'm having to literally be in this tree. So me and this tree are now best friends. I just managed to nab a picture before the sun came directly into frame, and now it's just absolutely washed everything out, which was not the look I was going for. So I'm just waiting for it to shift behind the tree to then take some more photos. And I think because it's coming in directly at the top there, I might go for a 16:9 crop just to shave that very bright bit at the top off there. Otherwise, this is exciting. I don't know what the scene is going to look like in 10 minutes time, in 20 minutes time. We haven't even hit golden hour yet. It could absolutely transform, or it could, you know, this may be the best it gets, who knows? And that sort of waiting game, that anticipation, can be really exciting sometimes. I tried to include the bright sun into the image with an attempted sun star. However, as the sun shifted, I did prefer the more subdued light, and I think this is because it brought in some cooler tones to balance out the warmth of the sun, and less haze brought out more detail of the tree bark. I do have a preference for cooler and softer tones though, so this just fits my style a little more. The thing about sunset photography in the forest is that you don't tend to get to golden hour. The sun will dip below the tree line, and then the light is blocked. And this has happened here. We had some beautiful light for a while, but now it has dipped below the trees, and it is no more. So I have an idea for a wide angle shot, but I guess I won't know if it's going to work until I try it. So time to swap lenses, what is the best way to do this? Oh, bag magic, duh. Oh, I love carrots. The dirtier, the better. It has been a while since I took my 16 to 35mm lens out for some landscape photography. No specific reason why, though. Just haven't taken it out in quite some time. So I spotted this tree, or trees. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at here. It's just this huge mossy mess, but I absolutely love it. So I spotted this the first time round, and the first thing that caught my eye was this corner here. And if I point this way, in this gap, you can just see this other tree, this other gnarly tree off in the distance. Now, after having studied this tree in a little more depth, I'm not really feeling this scene, this angle anymore. However, I have found something that could be a cracking shot. So on the other side of this tree, you can see these three huge mossy branches just going off in different directions. And mimicking that line, that direction in the foreground, we have this cluster of ferns, which is doing a similar thing, going off in separate directions. So I think this would be a great vertical image. And so yeah, let's give it a go. So I pretty much have my composition set up. I am at a slightly low angle looking up at these three mossy branches, and I really, really like this. Now I have this gap here in between these two. That's where the light, the sun is coming through. And what would be amazing would be able to get the sun in that space and create a sun star to show that is where the light source is coming from. However, if I take a look, the sun is directly behind this middle branch at the moment, and as it drops, it's going to drop to the right, and it's going to miss this space completely, go too far right, which is such a shame because that would have been the cherry on top of the cake. I think the only way to get the sun in there would be to drop a bit lower and then look up even more at these three branches, but then it would probably change the composition. I don't know if the ferns would then not sort of give you that mirror, subject mirror effect. I might try it. I think I'm going to take this image because I quite like this composition. I'm going to take this one and then I'm going to fiddle a little bit and see if I can get the sun just peering into scene in that gap. I didn't have to move the camera as much as I thought to get the sun in the end. Originally I was cropping it around here, but I'm not sure about the top right corner there. Otherwise, I love this scene and I'll certainly be revisiting it to see how I can build on this. Okay, I think I'm getting to know this area pretty well at this point, and I'm excited for our next round of lenses. So at this point, I've noticed quite a few potential image ideas by walking around and working with our first two lenses. And so I've spotted some ideas with my macro lens and my telephoto lens that I'm really eager to try out. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is go back to that mossy tree that I just photographed. As while I was exploring it, I noticed a couple of really tiny subjects that I thought, okay, yes, I need to get my macro lens on these. I'm really drawn to these two shoots here that are growing out of the moss, and I quite like this fresh growth. So I'm going to try and see if I can set up a tripod, which is kind of awkward because I'm going to end up being half on this tree, but let's give it a go. So it's taken me a while to get this set up. I've had to use the multi-angle column in the end to get the angle that I was looking for, but I'm finally set up after a lot of faffing. But otherwise I'm going to keep this really, really simple. I have one LED panel light with me today. I'm going to pop it with a slightly warm light on the right hand of the scene, and that's going to, I've popped it on the right because that's going to mirror the light that's coming through in the top corner there on the right through the trees. And this side lighting is going to give some beautiful shadows and contrast within the scene, and I think the warm tone will also just sort of warm that background as a little cool, just warm our subject up a little bit. So I'm going to focus bracket the scene so that our little shoots are in focus all the way through, and it's not going to take too many images. I'm going to guess 20 or up to 20, but in case I'm wrong, my guesstimation is wrong, I'm going to set the stack for 50 images, and then I can just delete the ones that I don't want later on in post. And otherwise, I think this is pretty straightforward, and I have no more comments. So here is the final result. I love this tree. This is my favourite find so far in this area, and this is certainly a spot that I can come back to time and time again in the future to see what other images I can get. While the sun starts to come out and as we inch towards golden hour, I'm just going to sit and relax here by this tree, and I'm going to note down all of the things that I've been finding here, the subjects, all the ideas that I'm building. And I'm also going to take a look at photo pills to see where the sun rises and sets throughout the rest of the year so that I can plan future location shoots. And while I do that, I'd also just like to thank MPB for sponsoring today's video. MPB is the largest online platform to buy, sell and trade in used video and photo kits. If you have any camera equipment that's just lying around at home gathering dust, not being used, then you can sell it with MPB and earn some money. I have sold a fair few bits of equipment through MPB in the past. The beginning of this year I sold my Nikon D850 with MPB, and the process was so simple. All I had to do was tell them what I was selling, the condition rating of it, and I got my quote. When you're happy with your quote and you've accepted it, then you can arrange shipping, and in the UK they have a free home pickup option which makes the whole process so easy and hassle-free. In my experience, MPB are also very, very fast to put your payment into your bank account days after they've received your kit. And of course, if you're looking to trade in as well, then you can do that at the same time by just popping the bit of kit that you want to buy into your basket. I'll leave a link to MPB in the description box if you'd like to go and check them out. And thank you once again to MPB for sponsoring today's video. So we are on the home run, our last lens, the telephoto lens. I have two images that I'd like to try with this. So this first one is kind of abstract. I have zoomed in really close to a few of these branches of this dead tree. A really intimate shot. I think black and white will work well here. And I can't decide what it reminds me of, some kind of ink spread or something from a sci-fi movie, some sort of DNA or substance, veins sort of spreading across a surface. The second scene I was considering was this cluster of birch trees, and I wondered late afternoon when the sun drops and the light becomes warmer, if it would light up all of those leaves in the background and give you sort of this beautiful golden effect. There is some light back there that isn't quite what I imagined. I think there's too much happening here. There's too much texture and weirdly too much detail. The scene almost feels sort of like crispy, like crunchy, and I don't like it. This one is a no. This one's a no. But that's okay, we tried. We as in me and the camera. Funnily enough, earlier on I did peg this location as more of a wider angle bit of forest, which is why I left the telephoto until last, because I wasn't really seeing anything that I was as excited by in comparison to some of the other scenes I have explored so far. And I still have ideas. This scene here, I don't know how I'd frame it up just yet, so I'm going to come back for this some other day. But I love the sort of mirroring lines between all of these branches and then that fallen tree in the background. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Well, I think this little seeing exercise was a success. Do you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised as to how much inspiration, how many ideas I am coming away with, and I sort of just limited myself to one image per lens for the sake of this video. But as I said, there are still scenes that I haven't explored with my camera yet. And it just goes to show that perspective really is everything, not just with your focal length and your angle, but you know, the mindset that you bring with you on location. Well, I think you will agree that is enough of me today. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you next time. There is just one more thing I need to do before I leave.